Hello everyone, welcome to Aptplus Academy for Civil Services, a premier institution for preparing for civil services in India. Today I am here for a daily news and editorial analysis for 3 days, which is Thursday, Friday and Saturday. So for 3 days I am covering the daily news and editorial analysis, and for rest of 3 days Sahil sir will be taking the classes for the current affairs as you are watching in our YouTube channel. So before I begin the analysis, I would like to say you that recently I had the medical issues at home. So for that reason I could not continue the daily news and editorial analysis from the Aptplus classroom, but from today onwards I will be taking the regular classes of the daily news and editorial analysis. So pardon me for that. So having said that, let us begin the analysis for today. So before I begin the analysis for today, I have few practice questions. You can practice these questions before the UPSC mains. Since the UPSC mains is very near, you can practice these questions, and these questions have been taken from the current affairs which are there in news. For instance, the electoral system and processes in France and India. So recently the election in India concluded, the general election in India concluded, and recently France also saw the presidential election. So for this reason we need to compare the presidential election in the France and in India. So we need to know the difference and the similarity in the constitutional process or the electoral process in France and in India. So this is the question. So you can practice this question at home. And the next question is about the urbanization in India and the urban planning in India. So urban planning is one of the major challenges that India is facing today. So this is also an important question you can practice at home. So I have the prelims questions also. So these are the prelims practice question, and this question is also about the current affairs which is there recently in news. We will discuss about these current affairs. So comment the answer of this question in the comment section. So this is the practice question from the prelims perspective, and this is about the freedom of speech in the parliament. So recently you have seen that the leader of opposition had opposed the Lok Sabha speaker about the muting of mic. Okay. So he has alleged the ruling party of not allowing the leader of opposition to speak. So for this reason, this freedom of speech in parliament becomes important topic for the UPSC prelims as well as mains. So this is the practice question. You can practice this question. Comment the answer of this question in the comment section, and we'll also discuss the answer at the end of this video as well. And this is another practice question, and this practice question is from the mapping, okay, because recently Britain also saw the election, and the Rishi Sunak, who is the Prime Minister of Britain, has recently lost in the Prime Ministerial election in the Britain. So for this reason this topic is important, and this mapping topic is important because you can see this type of question has been asked in UPSC in various stages and in various exams. So this is the British Isles, and you can see the British Isles basically consist of the Scotland, England, Wales and Ireland, and Ireland consists of Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. Okay. So all these together constitute the British Isles. Okay. So you have to know that these all islands which are located here are called the British Isles, and the Great Britain is called the Scotland, Wales and England together. So these three places together are called the Great Britain. So you have to know the difference. Okay. And the England is a different area. This is England, okay, and this is Ireland. And United Kingdom is Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales. So these four territories together constitute the Great Britain, okay, United Kingdom. So United Kingdom, Great Britain and the British Isle are three different things. So you have to know the difference. Okay. So Great Britain consists of four areas: Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales and England, and British Isle consists of all these area, and Great Britain consists of Scotland, England, Wales together. So the Great Britain does not constitute the Ireland. Okay. So you have to know the difference. So from this mapping you can answer the question of this, you can comment the answer of this question in the comment section. Now, coming up with the analysis of daily news and editorial analysis. So, this topic recently appeared in The Hindu, okay, an overview of the French elections, because recently French election happened in France, and for this reason we need to understand the electoral system in France, and we need to compare the electoral processes between two countries, and this topic is important for the GS paper 2, which is the polity and the comparison of the presidential or electoral system around the world. So, UPSC in the past years had asked questions from various topics, and these questions have been asked by UPSC. For instance, in UPSC mains 2017, the presidential election, comparison of the presidential election between India and the US has been asked. So, similar type of question can be asked about the comparison of the electoral processes in the France and India. So, for this reason this topic becomes important. So, here the political, so far as the political system is concerned, France operates under the semi-presidential system. Okay. So, semi-presidential system means there is presidential system as well as the prime ministerial system. So, there is president in France and there is prime minister, but so far as the president of France is concerned, president of France has more power than the president of India. President of India, as we all know, is a titular head, only the titular head. That means the president of India does not have significant power. He is only the ceremonial head of the state, and the de facto head of the Indian state is prime minister. Okay. So, you have to know these points, de jure and de facto. So, de facto is the prime minister in India and de jure is the president in India. But in case of France, the president has also been granted few powers. For instance, the defense, the external affairs, communication, etc. are all the domain of the president of France, but that is not in case of India. So, that is the main difference, and for this reason there is semi-presidential system in France. So, you have to know these points. Okay. And talking about India, India follows the parliamentary system. As we all know, there is parliament, and parliament consists of the president of India, upper house and lower house. So, you have to know this point, that the president of India also constitute the parliament. Okay. So, parliamentary system of polity is followed by India. So, this is the main point that you need to know. Now, moving on to another point. Okay. So, another point is electoral system. So, electoral system, as we were discussing, the France uses two-round system for the legislative and presidential election. So, two-round system, this is a very important point. ठीक है, यूपीएससी में और कोई भी एग्जाम्स में डायरेक्टली ये पॉइंट पूछा जा सकता है कि टू राउंड सिस्टम इज फॉलोड इन विच कंट्री, ठीक है, और विच कंट्री फॉलोज द टू राउंड सिस्टम इन द presidential or legislative election, then your answer should be France. So, France follows the two-round system, and what happens in the two-round system is, in the first round, different political parties comes together and decide the election, and if one party does not or if any one of the political parties which is contesting the election does not get the majority, which is 50% plus one vote, then two largest parties which have got the votes will be coming together and they will contest the election, and two largest parties, among the two largest parties, the one which gets the highest percentage or the majority will win the vote. So, for this reason the two-round system is there in France. And two-round system, why is there two-round system in France? The reason is that France follows the system of majority. Okay. So, majority must be there in France. So, France में क्या होता है कि the winning party must get 50% of total votes plus one. So, for this reason, if none of the party in the first stage gets this percentage of vote, then they will have to fight the election again. Okay. So, for this reason there is two round system, and the France employs the mix of proportional representation and majority system. So, we talked about majority system, which is 50% plus one vote, and there is proportional representation. That means, in France what happens is the percentage of vote that different political parties gets will be given the seat in the legislative assembly. So, the seat in the assembly will be distributed based on the proportion of the votes that certain political party gets. Okay. So, let us say there are three political parties A, B, C, and A has got, let us say, 60% of vote, B has got 30% of vote, C has got 10% of vote. Okay. So, if these parties have got these percentage of votes in the election, then if there are 100 seats in the parliament, then 60 vote or 60 seats will be given to A, 30 seats will be given to B, and 10 seats will be given to C. So, this is how the seats in the parliament will be distributed, and this is how the political system in France works. So, this is the proportional representation. But in case of India, there is first past the post system. So, we have discussed about this first past the post system in various classes previously. So, first past the post system means the party which gets the highest percentage of vote wins the election. It does not matter that he has to get 50% plus 1 or not. So, this is not the criteria in India. Okay. India just follows the first past the post system. That means, if there are A, B, C, D in election, and if A gets a 40%, B gets 30%, C gets 20%, and D gets 10%. So, if these votes are got by these political parties, then A will be declared winner in India. Despite that, A has not got the 50% plus 1 vote. Okay. So, for this reason, the electoral system that India has is called the first past the post system. Okay. So, this is the main difference between India and France. But in case of France, what happens is, in this election, let us say if this is the election of France, here the A would not be winning the seat in France. A would not be declared the winner in France, because these political parties will have to contest the election again, because France follows the two round system. So, this is the main difference that you need to know. Now, moving on to next important subtopic, which is the presidential election. We discussed about it. So, presidential election also follows the two round system. Okay. So, there is majoritarian status that the president or the candidate, electoral candidate in the president should get 50% of one plus 1 vote. Okay. India does not have direct presidential election. As you all know that India follows the indirect system of voting in case of the president. So, president of India is elected by the proportional representation by single transferable vote, and that voting system is done by the electoral college, which consists of the appointed or the members of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that is the members of parliament, and the elected members of the houses in the state legislative assemblies. Okay. So, elected members in the parliament and the elected members in the state legislative assembly, which includes the elected members of the Pondicherry and the Delhi, National Capital Territory of Delhi. So, these together elects the president of India through the electoral college. Okay. So, this is the system of electoral system that works. So, in case of France, the president is directly elected by the people. ठीक है. So, India में क्या होता है कि we do not vote the president directly. ठीक है. Have you ever voted for the president of India? No, we have not voted, right? Because we first elect the members of parliament and members of legislative assembly, and they vote to represent us. Okay. So, this is how the indirect electoral system in India works in case of the president. And the parliamentary seats. So, parliamentary seat, that is the French National Assembly. So, the Assembly of France or the Parliament of France is called the French National Assembly, has the 577 seats. Okay, the lower house of the Parliament in France has 577 seats, but in case of India, as we all know, India has how many seats? 550 members in Lok Sabha. Okay, India has 550 members in Lok Sabha. Okay, out of 550 members, 20 seats are given to the representatives of the union territories, and 530 seats are given to the states. Okay. So, currently India has 543 seats which are elected by the people. So, this is the present status of the Lok Sabha in India. Okay. So, you have to write all these points while comparing the electoral system of France and India. So, this is an important point. Now, moving on to next important subtopic, which is the electoral oversight. Electoral process in France are overseen by the independent authority to ensure the fairness and transparency. So, this is an important point. In France, what happens is the electoral process is not overseen by the government appointed body. So, the government appointed body does not elect the conduct the election in France, but in case of India, the government appointed commission, which is the Election Commission of India, oversees the election. So, for this reason, the Election Commission of India is often questioned by people for being puppet of the government. Okay? People allege that the Election Commission of India is often acting as the puppet of the government, but that is not so, because the electoral process in India is fair and transparent. Okay? And the Election Commission of India is a constitutional body under the Article 324 of the Constitution of India. Okay? So, these are important points that you need to know. And the Constitutional Council, this is an independent body in France, conducts the election in France. Okay? So, you have to know this point: Constitutional Council and the Election Commission of India. So, these were all important points that we need to know about the electoral political system in France. Okay? So, you have to know the difference, how to compare them, you have to compare them in that way. And now, moving on to next topic, which is the muting of mics in Parliament. So, recently we have seen that the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, as I just discussed recently, that the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha blamed the Lok Sabha speaker, that the Lok Sabha speaker often mutes the mic of the leader of opposition when he is speaking in the Parliament. Okay? So, for this reason, this topic is important so far as the topic freedom of speech in Parliament is concerned, and this topic is again important for the GS paper 2. Okay? So, this is important for the GS paper 2 in UPSC mains, and this is important for the UPSC prelims perspective as well. You need to know about the processes in Parliament and the important articles and the rules of the Parliament. Okay? So, this article appeared in the Hindu again. Okay? And the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha claimed that the mic was muted during the debate. So, this is the context of the news. And so far as the administration of mics in the Parliament is concerned, each MP in Lok Sabha is provided with individual microphone and switch set at their desk, and microphones are controlled centrally from the control room. Okay? So, the control switch is not in the hand of the Lok Sabha speaker. This is an important point, but there is a control room which controls the mic, but in the direction of the Lok Sabha speaker, the control room works. If the Lok Sabha speaker says that the mic of certain individual has to be muted, then that direction will be followed by the control room or the person sitting in the control room. And MPs press the grey switch to request to speak. Okay? So, grey switch is there in the table of the MPs, and they can press that switch to ask the leader in the house or the speaker in the house to speak on that behalf. Okay? And these are all important points. These 3 points are important so far as this administration of mic is concerned. In 0 hour, 3-minute time limit is given to the member, and when 3 minutes are over, the microphone gets switched off automatically. So, this is an important point. So, in case of 0 hour, 3-minute time will be given to the member. ये प्रीलिम्स के लिए भी एक इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंटर है, यू हैव टू नो दिस पॉइंट. एंड इन केसेस ऑफ डिबेट्स ऑन बिल्स, टाइम अलाउड फॉर ईच ऑफ द पार्टी. सो जब डिबेट होता है रिलेटेड टू सम बिल्स, फॉर इंस्टेंस द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट बिल्स, let's say a CAB or any other bill, then the time will be allotted to each political party, not to the individual. ठीक है, so each political party will get certain time, and that time again will be divided by the political party to their members. So this is how the time will be allotted. And in case of special mentions, MPs have limit of reading 250 words. ठीक है, जो यहाँ पे जो स्पेशल मेंशन है, स्पेशल मेंशन में टाइम लिमिट नहीं है, बट देर इज लिमिट ऑफ वर्ड्स विच इज 250 वर्ड्स. ठीक है, ये 3 पॉइंट यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दीज पॉइंट्स. एंड नाउ द टॉकिंग अबाउट द इशू ऑफ सप्रेसिंग ऑफ द वॉइसेस ऑफ अपोजिशन इन पार्लियामेंट. सो this point is important for the UPSC mains. What is the issue behind the suppressing of the voices of the opposition in parliament? The first issue is restrictive parliamentary rules and procedures. ठीक है, so in some parliamentary system the majority parties may use their influence to set the strict limits on the debates or limit the number of opposition members allowed to speak. So the majority party is always the one who elects the Lok Sabha speaker. ठीक है, so India में the current speaker of Lok Sabha who is Om Birla is from the ruling party. So what might happen is that the speaker of Lok Sabha might be tilted towards the party that he belongs from. So for that reason the speaker of Lok Sabha might be biased towards their own party. So for this reason the restrictive parliamentary rules and procedures might be made by the speaker in Lok Sabha. So for this reason that might affect the election, that might affect the parliamentary processes. ठीक है, so you have to know this point. And during the debate in the Constitutional Amendment Act, which is CA debate में क्या हुआ था कि the opposition parties basically objected to the speaker in the house that they were not allowed to speak about the constitutional amendment bill. ठीक है, so this was an example, you can quote these examples. And the limitation on the parliamentary committees, majority parties might dominate the committees which play a crucial role in the scrutinizing the legislation. So the parliamentary committees are very important because the parliamentary committees are the committees which scrutinizes the bill after that has been placed in the parliament. ठीक है, but if the parliamentary committees are dominated by the majority party in the parliament, then there will also be bias. ठीक है, there will not be transparency, or the majority will dictate the rules in the bills. The bills will be not debated properly. So for this reason this is an important point. ठीक है, limitation on parliamentary parliament and undermining the opposition bills and motion. ठीक है, so opposition bills and motion might be undermined. So if opposition places up bills in the parliament which are called the private members bills, if the private members bills are placed in the parliament, that might be rejected by the majority party. ठीक है, so majority party rule will basically affect the democracy in the house or the parliament. ठीक है, and another point is the manipulation of speaker's authority. As we just discussed, the speaker in Lok Sabha is from the ruling party. For that reason the post of speaker might be affected by the majority party. ठीक है, so he might be manipulated by the majority party or leader of the majority party. And the intimidation and harassment. So this is an also important point. Recently we have seen that the members of parliament are being harassed and intimidated in the house by the majority, the majority party or the members of the majority party. So these things are there in the parliamentary system, or the issues which are there in the parliamentary system. So these points basically are points that you can quote while writing the questions which talks about the issue of suppressing of the voices of opposition in the parliament. Okay. So, this type of question might be asked in the UPSC mains. You can quote these type of points in answer. And the way ahead, what we can do is enhance the parliamentary transparency and accountability. Okay. So, parliamentary transparency and accountability can be enhanced, and how can we do it? By implementing mechanisms to enhance the transparency in parliamentary proceedings, such as live streaming. We can stream each and every debate that happens in parliament through live sessions, and we can also live stream the meetings of the parliamentary committees as well. Currently, India live streams the parliamentary processes in Lok Sabha through the Sunset TV. So, you must be watching the Sunset TV, right? So, Sunset TV is the public broadcasting channel of India. Before the Sunset TV came, India had the Rajya Sabha TV and the Lok Sabha TV. So, these two TVs or these two channels were merged to form the Sunset TV, and Sunset TV currently live streams the sessions in the parliament. But what happens is that the transparency is still not there, because it has been said that the ruling party basically does not allow to live stream every session in the parliament, every important discussion in the parliament. It has been blamed that the important debates has been cut before they are streamed online. So, these are all the accusations of the opposition party. So, we can take the example of UK Parliament. Okay. In UK, what happens is 90% of the sessions are broadcasted live, promoting transparency and public engagement. Okay. So, you can quote these type of examples, data, quotes, examples are very important for the UPSC mains answer writing. Okay. And strengthening parliamentary committees. So, we can strengthen the parliamentary committees by the balanced representation. We can give representation to all the political parties equally. Okay. So, the majority party only should not dominate the parliamentary committees. So, you can write this point as well. And the German Bundestag. So, this is an important example that you can quote in German Bundestag. So, German Bundestag is basically the parliament of German. Okay. So, Parliament of Germany allocates the committee seats proportionally, ensuring all parties have voice in the parliamentary committees. Okay. So, you can quote this example as well. And another example is the promoting cross party dialogue and consensus building. Okay. So, cross party dialogues can be held, and ensuring impartiality and of the parliamentary speakers. So, what we can do is that we can elect the parliamentary speaker in such a way that the speaker is a political background, so that the speaker is from the non-political background. He is not from any political background. So, we can do that. We can also do that the speaker in the house is from completely third party. They are not from the ruling party or the opposition party. So, the speaker of the house can be neutral. Okay. Or another thing what we can do in India is that the speaker, when he is appointed as the speaker from certain party or in the parliament, then the speaker can resign from the party for the time that he is the speaker in the house. Okay. So, that process is there in the UK. So, from UK Parliament, from UK House of Lords, what we can learn is that the speaker can resign from his post until he holds that post of speaker. Okay. So, we can learn from that as well. And protecting freedom of speech and in assembly. So, we can safeguard the freedom of speech in parliament. Okay. So, these are all important way ahead that you can write from this topic. And the constitutional perspective, and this is an important, you can quote these articles in UPSC mains, and these articles are important for the UPSC prelims perspective as well. The freedom of speech and expression in India is granted by Article 19 subclause 2 of the Constitution of India. So, this freedom of speech which are granted to the people of India is valid in the House of People and the upper house in India as well. And Article 105 of the Constitution provides the powers, privileges, etc. of the House of Parliament. Okay. So, this article is also important. And this power or this powers privileges of the members of the parliament are subject to provisions of the constitution and the rules and standing orders regulating the procedure of the parliament. ठीक है. So again there is article 118 of the constitution of India. This is article 118 which provides the house or the leader or the speaker in the house or the chairman in the house to make rules of the procedure. So the rules of procedures are binding on the members in the house. So these rules basically restricts the freedom of speech of the members in the house. ठीक है. So if the members in the house does not follow the rules which are made by the speaker in the house or the chairman in the house, then that will be called the breach of privilege in the parliament. So breach of the privilege is important, and if there is breach of privilege, the members might be suspended for certain period of time. ठीक है. So certain disciplinary actions might also be taken. So this breach of privilege is important. ठीक है. And but rules regarding what constitutes the breach of privilege is not there. So breach of privilege is there in India, but what constitutes the breach of privilege is not defined. So breach of privilege in rules of procedure or in constitution of India has not been defined. So ये UPSC में prelims में एक pointer रह सकता है कि the breach of privilege has been clearly defined in Indian constitution or in the rules of procedure of parliament. Then your answer should be no. ठीक है. And article 121 of the constitution provides that the members of parliament are restricted from discussing the conduct of the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. So the conduct of judges cannot also be discussed by the members of the parliament. ठीक है. So this is another restriction. So article 118 and article 121 is basically the limitations of the freedom of speech of the members of parliament. ठीक है. So you have to know these points. Now moving on to next important topic. So next important topic is about the India-UK Free Trade Agreement. So India-UK Free Trade Agreement is very important, because if India is able to sign this free trade agreement with UK, then UK will be the first country in European Union, any country in the European Union, to sign agreement with India, because India does not have any free trade agreement with any European countries till now. ठीक है. यूरोपियन यूनियन के कंट्रीज है उसमें नहीं है. सो फॉर दिस रीजन दिस इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक इज इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड दिस टॉपिक अगेन अपीयर्ड इन द इंडियन एक्सप्रेस. ठीक है. एंड द कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज दैट रिसेंटली Rishi Sunak, who is the prime minister or who was the prime minister of UK, resigned because he was defeated in the prime minister election in the UK, and a new prime minister from the Labour Party has come in UK, and there is a question whether the new prime minister in UK will continue the discussions or the negotiations which are taking place so far as the India-UK Free Trade Agreement is concerned. So the question is that whether he will take forward the negotiations which were going on between India and UK, but we have to be confident that the Labour Party will take forward the discussion or the negotiation which is going on between India and UK, because the Labour Party which is there in UK has always been supportive of India so far as the Article 370 or the Jammu Kashmir issue is concerned or CAA is concerned. So Labour Party has always been pro-India, pro-Indian government. So for this reason we are hopeful that India-UK Free Trade Agreement negotiations will be taken forward by the upcoming Prime Minister, which is the Labour Party. So in this context we need to understand what is the status of the free trade agreement between India and UK. So so far as India-UK Free Trade Agreement is concerned, it was proposed and negotiations began in January 2022, and when completed, it will be the first comprehensive free trade agreement that India has signed with a European country. So, we discussed about it, this is an important point, and it is expected to be the third trade agreement signed by Britain since leaving the European Union. So, we all know about the Brexit. Okay? So, Brexit was a very significant moment in history, because through Brexit, Britain came out of the European Union. So, an important contributor to the European Union came out of the European Union. Okay. So, after Brexit, this will be the third trade agreement that the Britain will be signing with any other country, and January to 2024, so far as the chronology is concerned, the 14th round of negotiations began. Okay. And the issues including the India's push for the social security provisions for the Indian workers in UK, which the UK government is cautious about. So, in the 14th round of discussion, the social security of Indian workers which are working in the UK was discussed. Okay. So, this is an important issue which that the UK government is opposing, and there is a stall in debate on this topic. And so far as April 2024 is concerned, the India places the completion of the FTA as priority in the first 100 days after the new government takes the charge. So, again we should be hopeful that the new government in India has come up, and new government has promised that after coming to power within the 100 days, the India UK free trade agreement will be signed. So, this is a positive sign. Again, in the UK as well, new government has come, in India as well the new government, but the previous government only has come. Okay. So, for this reason we have to be positive, and in so far as May 2024 is concerned, most chapters of FTA covering goods, services, investments, intellectual property, etc. are completed. So, most part of the FTA agreement has been completed, and remaining issues include the rules of origin, concessions on electricity, electric vehicles, Scotch whisky, the social security agreements, carbon border tax, liberalization of financial services. So, these are only few topics which are remaining now. So, most of the issues has been solved. Okay. So, this is an important point. So, you have to remember these important developments that was there in the India UK free trade agreement. So, the development in UPSC, you might be asked that what is the recent development so far as the India UK free trade agreement is concerned. So, you can quote these points, and what is the India UK trade all about. So, status of India UK trade is also important, you need to know about it. Today India is among the top 2 sources of markets for FDI in UK. Okay. So, India is an important investor in UK. Okay. There are many companies in UK which are opened by Indian origin people, and these companies are hiring the professionals in UK, they are creating jobs in UK, and the Indian companies are also paying the high amount of taxes to the UK government, and the Indian nationals or the NRIs which are staying in UK are also giving the taxes out to the UK government. So, for this reason, the Indian nationals as well as the companies that are there in UK is important. Okay. So, for this reason, India UK trade agreement is an important step, that will be an important step for India and UK both. Okay. And the Indian companies play significant role in UK's economy, creating jobs and contributing to taxes. Okay. And UK is already the 7th largest export destination for India, and India's trade and investment relationship with UK has been successful. Okay. And the bilateral trade between India and UK increased to $20.36 billion in 2022-23 from $17.5 billion in 2021-22. So, there has been a huge increase in the volume of the trade as well, and in the first quarter of current fiscal, India's exports to UK grew by 21.24%. So, this is again a huge percentage increase on trade, which is the $3.3 billion, and imports fell by 33.5%. Okay. So, export is increasing, import is decreasing, that is a good sign, that will lead to trade balance, and you have to know one point that India has a trade surplus with Britain. ठीक है, so India exports more than India imports from UK, and the top imports from UK are the iron, steel, cosmetics, alcoholic beverages, and the aluminum products, and India is UK's 12th largest trading partner. ठीक है, so this is an important point again. India is UK's 12th trading partner. ठीक है, and accounts for 1.9% of UK's total trade in 4 quarters to end in 2022, and UK is 7th largest export destination in India of India. So these are all important points that you need to know. ठीक है, so you might be asked about the status of the trade of India with UK. ठीक है, so you have to know all these points. You can quote all these points in your answer writing. So I would suggest you to make a notebook for writing the data and facts only. ठीक है, fact book you have to maintain a fact book while preparing for the UPSC, especially the mains. ठीक है, you can revise so that you can revise that notes before the exam. ठीक है, and benefits of FTA with Britain. What is the benefit? Enhanced trade and economic growth. So as we can see, the volume of trade increase. So for this reason, the trade and economic growth will be there, because the tariffs would be reduced, the custom duties would be reduced for the goods which India exports to UK. ठीक है, and market access and diversification will be there. ठीक है, so diversified products from India can be imported or exported to UK. Currently you can see that the Indian textile gets a tariff of 10% in UK. So that is a huge amount of tariff that Indian textile products has to face in UK. But if free trade agreement is signed, the free trade agreement will lead to reduction in this tariff as well, and the export of Indian textiles in UK will grow, and the boost to investment and jobs creation. So more investment means more job creation, so more job will be created in UK. ठीक है, and in India as well, because more investors will come from Britain to India. ठीक है, so for this reason there will be more employment as well, and UK was the 4th largest investor in India in 2020-21. ठीक है, so India में भी the UK is one of the important investor, and technology and innovation collaboration might be there. ठीक है, so academia, IT or academia industry collaboration might be there. So India and UK might do the technology transfers, might collaborate in various technologies such as the artificial intelligence, the initiatives such as Global Biofuel Alliance of India. So for this reason, this point is also important, and fast tracking the India EU FTA. So this point is again important. Because India has been negotiating free trade agreement which is called the BTIA. So BTIA is the bilateral trade investment agreement. So this BTIA is related to India EU free trade agreement. So एग्जाम में ये पूछा जा सकता है कि what is BTIA related to? BTIA means bilateral trade and investment agreement between India and European Union, which is under the negotiation. But despite many years has been passed since the negotiation began between India and European Union on the BTIA topic, the deal has not concluded. ठीक है, so bilateral trade and investment agreement has been stalled for many years because of the opposition of European Union for the carbon border tax, ठीक है, cyber security topics, etc. So for this reason, the BTIA India is not able to sign the free trade agreement with European Union. But if Britain becomes one of the important country to sign the free trade agreement with India, then that will give boost to European Union free trade agreement with India. ठीक है, so this is an important point. So you can write these points as pros of signing the free trade agreement by India with the Britain. So these are all important points that you need to know. Now the answers. So these are the answers of the questions that I had given you at the beginning of the video. Okay? So Article 105 of the Constitution of India guarantees freedom of speech and expression to the members of Parliament. Okay? And Article 118, we discussed about it, provides the rules of procedure in the House. Okay? And Article 121 restricts the members from the conducts in the Parliament on discussing the conducts of the judges of Parliament, and the breach of privilege and punishments are not clearly codified in the Parliament. Okay? So answer for that question is B. Okay? And next question, this is the question about the British Isles. I have discussed this British Isles and territories in detail in the beginning. So this is the answer. Okay? So these three important topics that I discussed today is going to be very important for the upcoming exams, especially for the UPSC mains and the UPSC prelims as well. And those who have cleared the UPSC prelims 2023, congratulations to all of them. I hope you are preparing well for your exam, and you can take part in the answer writing program of the Aptitude Academy, Abhyuday answer writing program, etc. So you can join the Telegram channels as well. So having said that, I am concluding today's session. So these were all important things that I had to discuss this week, and from the next week onwards, I will also be taking the classes, okay? And Sahil sir will also be taking the daily news analysis classes. So having said that, let me conclude the session. We will meet again in the next video. Till then, take care. Thank you.